Today I'm going to tell you exactly how I closed my very first listing as a real estate agent at 21 years old. Let's get into it. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, my name is Aaron. I'm a realtor here in the Chicagoland area, and this is part 2 about my very first listing. You know how I got it, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I sold it and how the process worked. As soon as I got the listing, I think within 6 days we were on the market. And remember, I promised to sell it in 28 days. So every day mattered to me. First week goes by and we get 2 showings. Now in the last 4 years they've been on the market, they have not gotten more than 4 showings. So in the last 4 years, they've gotten 4 showings combined. So the first week we get 2. I'm feeling good, they're feeling good. They're like, we made the right call, we hired the right agent. Second week, we also get 2 showings, but no offers, right? So this is already 2 weeks in, I'm 14 days in, and I got no offers, but at least I got 4 showings. Well, now it's the 3rd week. I think it was like around day 21. We get 1 more showing, and it turns out to work out. I had to accompany all the showings because it was a luxury listing, and the seller requested it. So I was there. They were looking at the property, and the agent pulls me aside and says, look, we like this place, and we're going to make an offer on it. I met the buyers. It was actually his mother and father, so it was great. So he tells me he's going to put an offer in. I call my clients on the way home, and I let them know everybody's excited. This is only day 22 or 23, and I'm like, woohoo! And I still got a few days to spare, so I'm excited. And that was on a Friday, I believe, right? So the whole weekend I'm waiting, and he told me around the next week, around Tuesday, Thursday is when I'll get my offer. Well, Tuesday, Thursday rolls around. I give him a call, and he's like, look, we sat down, we talked about it, and we're going to hold off making an offer right now. We love the house, but we feel the price is going to get lowered again, so we just want to wait. I'm like, oh, no. Now remember, this house was on a busy road, so finding another buyer in the next 3 days left on my 28-day guarantee is going to be damn near impossible. So the 28th day came. I have no offer. I have no buyer. Maybe we had 1 more showing, and that's about it. I'm nervous, but I'm like, you know what? I feel I've done a great job, so I'm not worried about it. However, I wake up on the 29th day on the market with an email from my seller saying, listen, we appreciate all your hard work, but we've decided to go in a different direction. Please cancel the listing. And, ladies and gentlemen, when I read that email, it broke me inside for a little bit, because all I could think about is, first and foremost, damn, I didn't expect this to happen. And 2, my very first listing, and I messed it up. I couldn't sell it. What a terrible real estate agent I am. You know, all the negative thoughts that go through your head when you get fired from the very first listing. And also, caveat, I was dead broke. So I really needed to make some things work. And I'd already spent like my last $500 in marketing this place. So I'm like, oh, what a bad situation I'm in. But this is when having a strong mental is really the most powerful thing you can have on your side as an asset to you as any business owner or real estate agent. And I sat there and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stop beating myself up. I know I'm great. I'm gonna be confident in my abilities. I've sold a bunch of stuff before. It's just another item, right? Because I've sold cars, furniture, you name it. So I'm like, what can I do to get this house sold? I know for a fact that I have a buyer interested in buying it. How can I get them to not wait another month, but make an offer today so I can save this deal and get paid? Because the worst thing that could happen if somebody else lists that house for like $675, and then the same buyer comes in and buys it, and then I miss out on a very good paycheck. So I called the buyer, and instead of telling him that I got fired, a buyer's agent, I let him know, I'm like, look, the sellers have decided that they're no longer going to sell. They're going to hang in there for maybe another 5 years or so and maybe pass it on to their kids. Reason I said this is because I know the buyer's agent's client / mother was in love with that house. They even told me that 2 years prior when it was on the market, they came to see it and were ready to make an offer, but the price just wasn't right. So I'm like, okay, these are the buyers that are going to buy this house. So I pretty much took away the house from them. He goes like this, no, we'll get you an offer. Just give me a couple of days. Okay, no problem. I call my client. I'm like, just give me a couple of days. I'll have an offer for you. He's like, okay, no problem. A couple of days goes by. I get an offer for $600,000. Mind you, we're asking 7. So right away, my heart melts into my body. I'm like, damn, I thought I could save this deal, but I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with $600,000, right? Well, I called the client. I'm like, look, I got the offer. Why don't we meet tomorrow around 10 a.m. and discuss it in person? He's like, great. A couple hours later, he's like, why don't you email me the offer so we can review it, and then we'll discuss when you come in the house tomorrow. I didn't want to do this because the second I sent it, I assumed he's going to get very frustrated, upset, and angry at the offer and not want to negotiate. And that's exactly what happened. He called me 5 minutes later, says, this is BS, my house is worth more than this, who do they think they are, all the things that sellers do. Well, I'm like, look, they asked me to counter at $699, which is obviously an insulting counter, right? I'm like, look, I'm not going to counter at $699 because that's going to ruin this deal. But these guys are interested. Let's look at it on the bright side. And this is something a lesson I want to share along the way is learning to speak with your clients and guide them through the emotional times is the most valuable thing you could do. I know so many agents who just don't know how to control their clients' emotions, right? Now, if you ask my client right now, he is so happy that he did not counter with $699. I told him, let's do this. Let's counter with asking them to bring us their highest and best offer and then go from there. He's like, okay. So I counter with I asked him to counter with their highest and best. They come back with $630. Well, right away, I told the client that they're not interested. I'm like, look, you know what? And I was very passive with it, too. I'm like, look, they're not interested in selling. $630 is not going to get them to want to move. They're just not going to do it. So thank you for trying. Have a nice day, right? I didn't try to counter with them, see, because I'm like, I gotta show him that he's going to lose this deal, right? So the next morning, I'll never forget this. I'm asleep. I'm on my right side because I sleep like this. I get a phone call from the agent. I look at it. I get upset that he's calling me because I'm like, the deal's over. Just leave me alone. I put it down. Then I'm just like, wait, what if he wants to offer more? I pick it up. Surprise, he offers $660. I'm like, okay. Now we can do something with this. So I call the client. We get together in person, and he goes, listen, I'm not accepting $660, but we're close. Long story short, we get it to $670. Now, this is when all the problems began, folks. The buyer's agent tells me that the client wants to see the house one last time before signing on that dotted line and paying $670,000, pretty much 70 grand more than their initial offer. And that's like not a good thing to hear because that means they're having second thoughts or they may feel like they overpaid, all that good stuff. So I'm having a heart attack, but I'm like, you know what, whatever. You want to come see the house? There's nothing changed, so you're still going to love it. Come see the house. I think this was a Wednesday. I was like, when can you stop by? He's like, Friday. Cool, no problem. Well, Friday turns into Monday. Monday turns into Wednesday. And then Wednesday turns into Sunday. And then this goes on for like a week and a half. And my client is losing their mind. And again, you got to learn how to control your clients because I knew no one else is going to make an offer on this house. So I told him, look, you got nothing to lose. If they don't show up, you still have an amazing house. If they do show up, you get to sell your house and move on with your life and do other things. So we hung in there, and then they finally showed up with an offer. They signed it, and then this is when something funny happened. Like I always say, don't worry about learning everything about real estate, like the processes, the contracts, all this, until you actually get a client. Because if you don't have a client, what are you wasting time learning things for? Now, I'm not saying don't educate yourself on your craft, but when I started, my focus was to get clients and learn along the way. So now that I have a client and we just went under contract on the list side, I have no idea what to do. So I tell the agent in a very clever and slick way, I'm like, okay, so now that we're under contract, how do you want to proceed? So I pretty much leaned on the knowledge of the buyer's agent because they've been in the business for like 18 years to kind of guide me through it. He was like, well, now it's time to do inspection, as you know. I'm like, of course, blah, blah, blah. Now, long story short, there were some hiccups between the contract period. We get to a Friday, just 3 days before closing, right? And the problem that I was having with my clients was that we couldn't find them a place to live. So what I had to do is, because they had a very unique criteria, they only wanted to live in this specific neighborhood. I cold called every expired, canceled, previously rented, currently listed house in the entire neighborhood to get them to see if they would allow us to do a 6-month rental. And they'll still be able to list it on the market and sell it if they want. Just give us 6 months, and in that meantime, you can look for a house for them to purchase. Well, eventually somebody called in. We were able to work a lease together for $4,500. So let me set the scene for you. Friday, we get the clear to close. Life is good. We're supposed to close that Monday. That Wednesday is when my client is going to move into their lease. So they're going to sign the lease after closing on Monday, and then they need those 2 days to move in, right? Well, on Friday at 5:30, I get a call from the agent saying that we can't close Monday because my client went and got a cashier's check instead of wiring the funds. So now we have to wait another 48 hours for the money to go back into his account and then come back out. So I'm like, oh no, this pretty much ruins everything for me, right? So I'm like, I don't know how to handle this. So, and by the way, this is a time where I was still Ubering to make ends meet because keep in mind, I was broke. So I'm like, all right, it's 5:30. I mean, I need money. I got bills to pay by Monday, so I'm gonna hit the road. So I'm Ubering, and all I can think about is this deal falling apart and how I can save it. I called the attorney, they didn't pick up. Next morning, I called the attorney again because I didn't want to tell the clients. I'm like, if I can figure out how to resolve this, it would be great. I want to call in with the solution, not a problem. So I talked to the attorney, and he's like, listen, we could do a dry closing. That's the only way we can save this deal. I'm like, no problem. Why don't we do that? He's like, well, usually buyers don't like to. I'm like, don't you worry about that. I got that. So I called the buyer's agent. I'm like, listen, here's what we have to do to meet this criteria. He's like, cool, no problem. So Monday rolls around, everybody signs the paperwork. There were some, hiccups with the walkthrough, but I was able to talk everybody out of it, and everyone signs the paperwork. Wednesday, I show up. I pick up my $16,750 paycheck, take it to my brokerage. They give me 44% of it, and now I'm all of a sudden a rich man with $7,400 in my bank account. And it was such a relieving moment for me because now not only did I actually make some serious money as a real estate agent, I was able to actually show my family and friends, be like, look, this is not a mistake. You can make money in this career and, get off my back about not going to college and all that stuff. So that's why it was such a powerful moment. And I was so blessed that my very first clients were, number one, a listing, an expensive listing, and they ended up leasing a place from me. And then again, they bought a $525,000 house from me. So I was very fortunate in that, and I'm very blessed, and I thank them very much. And that's about how I closed my very first deal. I hope you guys learned something from it. If you watched it this far, why don't you put in the comments bomb lighting, because I've been working on the lighting lately, and I think it's been great. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.